Welcome to You're Not the Boss of Me. If you are determined to break glass ceilings and build it your way, this show is for you. I'm your host, Beth Graves, and I am obsessed with helping you to not just dream it, but make the plan, connect the dots, and create what you crave. Are you ready? Let's get started. Welcome back to episode number 35. Super excited about what we're going to chat about tonight. It's this morning for you if you're listening on Monday morning, but I'm recording late at night. Seems that's the only quiet time in my house, and I'm happy to just be connecting with all of you. So, are you ready? Let's get this episode started. Okay, so here we go. Before I sat down to record this episode, I hopped on the Peloton. I'm a new Peloton rider. ThrivingBeth, if we're not connected, I want to high five you. And something that Dennis said as I was finishing the ride was cross the line. And we're going to talk about crossing the line, and then we're going to move into the focus framework and the challenge that we're completing in Camp Elevate. And I really wanted to walk through what my focus framework each week for my business, for both businesses, the coaching business and for the network marketing business. And this works for anything that you're doing that you need sales, donations for nonprofits. It works for everything. And I want to explain it to you today so you have faith and clarity. And if you've been over in the challenge with me in Camp Elevate, listen again because we are going to walk right through it. So first I want to talk about crossing the line. And I went to a mastermind, and I'm so grateful for the time that I was in this beautiful bed and breakfast in Savannah, Georgia, with my mastermind sisters, with Susan Hyatt, who I'm working with this year. And Fran Cadora, who has the most incredible jewelry, Studio by Fran. You can find her on Facebook. She's so talented. And Susan kept coming up with surprises. She loves to give gifts. And she said, okay, here's your next surprise. I mean, we had all kinds of different things. Like I felt like we were on a game show. We were getting these brilliant business ideas. And one of them was a piece by Fran Cadora. And I chose to do the bracelet that's hand stamped. And we were to choose our word of the year or our phrase. And I had like something that was super inspirational. I think it was intentional or a word like that. And then I said, you know what? There's this red line at the end of the sidewalk. And my husband would say to me, why do you stop before the red line? Why don't you cross it and turn around and come home? And I got to thinking, oh my gosh, that is kind of the story of my life, is not quite crossing the red line, not quite getting there. Maybe if you look at the numbers or you look at the accomplishments, many things have been accomplished, but it's those little things that I don't cross the red line. And the little things add up. And I'm calling myself out on not crossing the red line. And the Money Her Way Challenge course that I am offering is my first red line I'm crossing. Because I have been putting off, I've got to record 3 more modules. I'll just do it live. I love my live mastermind group. All of that's perfect, but I needed another offer for those that weren't ready yet for the high-level mastermind, a different price point, a way to work on a short-term basis and get some laser coaching. And so I decided with this course, I'm in this live challenge, and I thought, okay, I'm going to pivot. I'm not going to start the mastermind just because it takes a lot of time to get people started because it's super personal on how we build out the businesses in the Profit Her Way Mastermind. And I'm super active right now because so many people on the network marketing side are home or need that platform to actually go from hobby to full time. So I've got that. And then I'm so incredibly lucky to have Mackenzie home and to have this time that I never really thought we would have again, because she is a full-time resident in New York City. And we moved from the house where she grew up. We moved to a new house. And most of the time it was just 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days. Family vacations are usually taken away from Florida because we love to all travel in a big group together. Today, actually, we were supposed to leave for Amsterdam to celebrate my sister Karen's retirement. And so we have vacations planned, but being at home is so different. I know this is a tangent on the red line, but I want to share this because I think many of us are experiencing a lot of different emotions. But I thought as I looked outside and they're both swimming and they were using the air fryer. I mean, you guys, I don't cook. So my kitchen has had more activity in the last 13, 14 days than it will probably ever see in its lifetime. And I thought, this is incredible because if they hadn't had this time together, if they hadn't had Mackenzie's turning 20 this summer and Donnie's turning 16, I think they would have had a very different relationship because she left 2 years ago when he was, I think he was in 7th grade at the time, 6th grade. A lot changes between 6th and 9th grade. And I'm watching this friendship develop, this new way of knowing each other as brother and sister. And because I'm so close to my sisters, I am so grateful. And I literally, you guys, I'm so emotional. Do you find yourself really emotional right now? I'm like standing at the top of the stairs. They're like, oh, there's mom. She's crying again. So, I go through that emotion. And when I'm talking about crossing the red line and what I had planned for my business right now is not what I'm going to be doing until later, because I want to be able to have the flexibility and freedom to spend the time at the pool. And so I thought I'm going to pivot the offer. And I almost didn't cross the red line. I almost was like, you know what? I do a lot for free. I've got the podcast. It will come. We're finishing. Well, we're not finishing. We're in our last section of the mastermind. We've got until July for that. And that group is so connected and fueling me and all the network marketing things. I'm just going to be good for now. And then I get on that damn Peloton and Dennis says, cross the line. And crossing the line means doing what I said I was going to do. And that is creating a way for me to work more closely with the people that are over in Camp Elevate, my entrepreneurs, my network marketers that are wanting to learn more and do more. And then I have all kinds of excuses. I'm going to tell you about these excuses. Then we'll talk about the focus framework. But I think that this is super important that I have people say all the time, I love that you tell us that you actually screw up. I mean, of course I do. I'm a hot freaking mess. And that's why I have so many systems and strategies and frameworks in place, because if not, I am like a squirrel wearing a tutu with sequins on it, running around like, oh, look over here. Oh, I'll write a book. Oh, I think I'll start a YouTube channel. So it's getting it down to a super simple way to build the business. That's why the focus framework came about. And that's why I decided I have got to move forward. So at the end, you'll hear the links, but I am going to be offering starting in May. And if you're listening to this and it's not the regular time, that it's not a live podcast, this is going to be something that is always offered. It just won't have the live coaching sessions with it. It's made because I've been working on this focus framework for years. It's been how I've been building both sides of my business. And I have also taught realtors to use this, online course creators, network marketers, and it works, but it takes a little bit of time and tweaking and testing. And that's why the Money Her Way course will also have a live coaching session to it, where we'll have laser coaching sessions with me, and we'll be able to run through it and have conversations. They're group coaching sessions. And so I'm excited. So if you want to grab that, you've got to use the HTTPS with BethHoldenGraves.com/money, or just send me a message over on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll make sure that you get the link, but we'll be putting it in the show notes below as well. So let's talk about the focus framework. Focus framework is a way that you build out your week. And how does that look? So what happens, and we've talked about creating focus blocks and how if you haven't listened to that episode, I think it's episode number 32. And we started the week over in Camp Elevate with a very specific task. And that was, I do what it takes to achieve my next breakthrough. So we started with affirmations because you guys know I love that woo stuff and bringing up the energy and the abundance shift. And that's what I want to encourage you to do is end your night, start your day, however that looks, is we decluttered a space. We decluttered our mind. We let go of excuses. We said, I am here to take action with faith and clarity. We created affirmations. The first day was really fun. And then they were like, whoa, what happened to the fun Pinterest dream office challenge? And then I was like, nope, we're moving into business. So there's a cool workbook that you can get it's still going to be available to you for a little while if you weren't involved with the challenge. But what we did is we started with that declutter, and we found our dream office. We decluttered. We cleared the distractions from our brain, and we thought of affirmations about how we were going to build our business. That's what happened on day 1. On day 2, we started to talk about the shift, hustle versus align, and also what makes us different, what makes us stand out. And we've talked about the CEO shift in other podcasts, but what makes us stand out as marketers? And why is it different than just make a list, shoot them a video, see if they're interested, send them more information, and maybe get some results? And you hear it all the time. If you send enough messages, you're going to get results. Well, that could be true, but I also don't want to send messages that make me feel like I'm a stalker and make me feel uncomfortable, because as I told the group, you do not sell hamburgers at a vegan bodybuilding competition that are made out of beef, right? So if you're barking up the wrong tree, you're not going to have many sales. So we started to talk about how to make sure that your magazine cover, your Facebook, your Instagram was speaking the language of who I call my Emily. And Emily is the avatar. Emily is the specific person, and I call mine Emily. And you guys that have heard the story know that I actually, after, I think it was the second episode, Emily showed up in my inbox. I was like, is this a joke? Is this Jody playing tricks on me because she's telling me my podcast is really speaking to my avatar? And she's like, hey, I'm Emily, and your podcast really spoke to me today. She's now one of my VIP coaching clients and a dear friend, and we laugh all the time because she's like, were you in my head? So Emily is that person that you are speaking to whenever you're posting on social media. Meaning, yes, you might have a product. Let's say you have essential oils, and you know that essential oils can solve many problems and help many different kinds of people. But when you get clear on your marketing messaging, it is, what problems do you solve for a very specific and small gap of people? And I would say that doesn't mean that I'm not going to talk to my husband's best friend about my product that would help him with his digestive issues or with his inflammation. But it means that my social media isn't going to be a magazine. Like, if you think about this, if you buy a magazine and it has bodybuilding articles and it has how to crochet and it has how to ride the perfect barrel horse pattern, you're going to lose interest very fast. But if it was a barrel horse magazine and it had all kinds of strategy and how to ride the perfect pattern and how to get the perfect shine to your barrel horse's coat and all kinds of different things, it's going to be very interesting for those that are looking for barrel horse information. So we talked about being very specific, and I used the magazine analogy. So day 2 of the focus framework, how you build out your week. So we cleared our week. We put the blocks in for when would our business block be. And then I said, here's the deal. During your business block, we're going to be very specific about how we plan our reach outs and what we're inviting to. And does it speak to your avatar? Meaning, have you dialed in on this person, this friend, this avatar, that you solve their problems? That is what every good marketing campaign does. It solves the problem of a very specific person. So you can tell when you're watching kids' TV, they're going to be talking about very different, like, remember Saturday morning cartoons, getting up and having your big bowl of Captain Crunch? You guys, who didn't love Captain Crunch? Or send me a message on Instagram. Tell me what your favorite childhood cereal was. My mom was like, we had it all the sugar. But Captain Crunch always made the top of your mouth kind of raw tasting. Gosh, I wish I had Captain Crunch right now. That would be awesome. All right. So think about that. They're going to, if during the kids' shows, they had started marketing geriatric products, the kids would lose interest. So we think about our week as a framework. So we talked about on day 2, we got rid of all the clutter. Then we put all of the lists of things that we were doing, but we talked about a few episodes ago about how we don't want to be emptying the dishwasher, messaging, having our head all over the place. So finally we cleared it out. We're sitting down for the business block and I start talking about Emily and they're like, what? Aren't you going to tell us what to do to get more sales? That's what you promised. Yes, this is how you get more sales. So we talk about what book would she read? What keeps her up at night? Where does she shop? Every single thing. What's her favorite magazine? What kinds of shoes does she like to wear? Is she someone that would celebrate Earth Day? Like, who is your Emily? What kind of health problems does she have? What kind of beauty problems does she have? What are her favorite brands? You get so clear about who she is and what financial things go on with her. What kinds of books would she be reading to learn about finance, to learn about energy, abundance, business? What podcast does she listen to? And when you get really clear on this person, and I always say, make it one. I know that many of you are like, well, I sell my product solves all kinds of problems, or my coaching program, I can help a 60-year-old that's starting to teach people how to crochet, and I can help somebody that wants to build an online class for scuba diving. That's awesome. But if you dial it in and your gap, your niche, your little piece is so specific, you are going to have more sales. And you're going to have more fun, and you're going to be talking to the people that you can solve a problem. So when you're clear on that, and my person, she's not a young mom, she's an almost empty nester. So I do sell product to a lot of young moms because they cross my path. I sell coaching to a lot of young moms because they get the overwhelm. But most of my content might not speak to somebody who has a bunch of toddlers at their house, because I'm not sharing tips and techniques and strategies for how to entertain a toddler or mush up their mango so it tastes better. That doesn't even make any sense. I was just talking about Captain Crunch, and I'm talking about mango. All right, so the Focus Framework week looks like this. When you think about your Sunday business block, you know who your Emily is. Then we move to, and this is really advanced stuff, but I wanted to share it, and we are going to deep dive into how to do this. I look at my week on Sunday, and I always start with 10 names, 10 people, 10 new friends, 10 old friends, 10 people on my list that I have met in some way, shape, or form who are looking for what I have. I just know they are because they fit that avatar, to make that list. And I look at that list and I create an intention. This is the difference between you guys who are going to build your businesses with intention and abundance and clarity, and all those people out there that are not going to take the time to do this. I set an intention. How will I serve? How will I educate? How will I make these women laugh? How will I help them if they're looking for me in this week? I set that intention. Then I set everyone to see first, because I want to stay engaged. I want to know what's going on in their life. So I've got my list of 10, and it doesn't mean I'm not reaching out to other people or having conversations, making connections, but that makes sure that I get, that I am actually in business building mode, which means income producing activity. And what I do is I plan for my main event for the week. My main event might be something that my leaders, corporate, something they're offering, but I'm a true marketer, and so are you. And so I want to create an event that my group that I'm talking with, engaging, and connecting with will find very interesting, and it might relate to my product or to my service, or it just might be a way for us to connect. But most of the time, it's solving a problem for product or business. So I think, okay, it's Sunday. On Thursday, I am going to do a lunchtime Facebook Live, and this is going to be the content. Maybe I'll interview a naturopathic doctor who's solving premenopausal issues with certain vitamins and exercise and water and Himalayan sea salt, but we're going to talk about how proper supplementation helps with X, Y, and Z, and then I can relate it back to product. Or if I was talking about business, I might talk about a residual online business stream for retirement. Somehow I am going to connect, or I might interview a success story that would really relate to my Emily. So the main event being on Thursday means that I call that my feature, my movie feature. So stay with me on this. This is fun. I make my list of 10, and it's easy to do because when I'm connecting in Facebook groups, when I'm connecting with stories, when I'm having people that seem to just send me a friend request because someone shares my content because I'm consistently showing up, they're there and they've already almost put up their hands. And like I said, I just have an abundant mindset and I set the intention and I never look at those names and go, oh, I hope I don't bug them. I know that some will say yes and some will say no. And that's cool because there's so many people in the world that might need what I have. Not might, they do. So I look at that list during my business block. I think, okay, my main attraction, my big movie feature is going to happen on Thursday. So all week long, I want to give what I call my movie trailers. How am I going to engage with content that might make the people that are watching me or the people that are engaging with me be educated and put up their hand and say, wow, that's interesting. So I'm going to think about what can make Emily laugh during the week. What problems might she be facing? And what kinds of things would allow her to feel more vulnerable or feel more heard? Maybe I'll share a book recommendation. I'll be in my stories, leaving the trail of breadcrumbs to how I solve this problem. I might share a podcast like Brene Brown and say, this is awesome. I also will be connecting with them on their social media, commenting, getting engaged so that we're not just like, we're at a party together, and asking questions, complimenting. But all of this is with the intention of how will I serve? How will this connection create something good for my friend? And so I'm making a connection, and then I'm going to use my intuition around how that connection is going, what I'm seeing on their social media. Most of the time by Thursday, they've asked me, what is it that you do? Or tell me more about this because we've been connected and I'm so dialed in on what problems I can solve or how I can serve. So I will make sure that I let my 10 and more, I invite through my stories, know that I am going to be having this feature attraction on Thursday. And I just, hey, I'm interviewing my friend Amber. She's going to talk about how to use meditation to survive during this X, Y, and Z time. I might do that to serve. I also might be sharing about the business. So I might say, hey, I noticed that you also almost have an empty nest and college is right around the corner. I would love for you to take a look at what I do. Or if it's a coaching client, I might say, I would love for you to take a look at some of the work that we're doing in Camp Elevate or at the Money Your Way to see if I can solve that problem. So I want you to notice on this focus framework that I'm really dialed in on who it is that I serve. My content, my magazine cover on social media, my Facebook land, or my Instagram is content, meaning I'm going to talk about stuff that matters to Emily. So the stuff that matters, I love that word, stuff. We're going to talk about stuff. The stuff that matters for my Emily is very different than what my friend Elise might share on her timeline because it might be a totally different audience. And I'm not going to get controversial, but I'm going to talk about things that matter. And that's how we get the engagement. That's how we get people to put up their hands. Then we share some sneak peeks in the stories. We might share testimonials of people that have had success with the problems that we're solving, with the businesses that we offer. And then by Thursday, when we have this event, we are reaching out and we are saying, hey, I'd love for you to take a look. You're engaged in connection. So it goes content, connection, conversation, and then you're making an invite along the way. You're saying, hey, I would love for you to take a look. So you are just staying in this vibe of how am I reaching out? How am I following up then with people that have put up their hand once, or maybe they're ready to place an order or ready to get started or ready to get the registration for your course? Then we do, we have that business block, which we always talk about, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I've shared that before. I'll share it again. We're going to really get deep into that in some of the Money Your Way course materials. But I want you to think about just that focus framework. If you do nothing else but take away from here, we talked all about the decluttering. We talked about finding time for the business, making the commitment to say, I am going to do my business block on this day at this time. Remember Atomic Habits. I'm going to choose 10 people who are going to be on my list to engage, connect, and serve. I'm going to set an intention for helping them through this week. And if it feels aligned and authentic, and it will, you guys, it will, I'm going to give them an invitation to take a look. It's like last week, I did a webinar and it talked about how to build a cloud-based business. And I worked with 20 different names of, I don't even like to call them prospects because they're friends. They're my social media peeps. And I was looking to help some women see that this would be a great business model for them. And we made the connection and I said, hey, this is what's happening today. Hop on in or I can send you a recording. And this was after we did all of the work. And I had some movie trailers going on in my stories talking about other women that had built to success using this business model. And I had 6 people say, I would love to take a look. So that is how you work with your focus framework. I want you to think about your main event for the week. And if you're like, I don't have a main event, so I don't always have main events, I have to create them. And that is being the CEO of your business. This is my main event right now, this podcast. I decided to have a main event, a piece of content that could speak to my audience, that could help, that could serve, that a percentage would then work with me personally. And many people will just be podcast friends. I'll be on a walk with you, with your dog. Hey, Prince, how's it going? I love when I get to walk with dogs on the podcast. So I want you to think about what is your main attraction each week. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. It can just be a Facebook Live interview, a Facebook Live with you. It could be a watch party for something. But when you just do random throwing out of information, random things, then you're going to have a random business that doesn't speak to very many people. But when you're intentional and you look and say, okay, I look on Sunday and say, what are my tools for the week? Where are the places, especially you network marketers, where are the places that there will be things going on? And if you don't have those, check with your leaders. I know that we have a customer group and most of you have customer groups and sometimes there's a live event. So that might speak to my Emily. Well, this week there was something that had to do with some young moms. And I thought, okay, so I could share that out, but my person that I'm talking with, that I'm connecting with, that's engaging with me on my social media, she doesn't have that same pain and frustration that new mom has, building a business from home and trying to find space and having strategy. So I created an interview series of my own. That was my main event. So I want you guys to just take a deep breath. I know it's a lot. I know I shared a lot. And I want you to think about, how does it flow from my main people, my party goers, my friends that I'm inviting to take a look? How am I connecting and serving? And the most important thing is that you do it, that you have a list of people, that you know who they are, and that you track where are they in your process. Some will stay qualified and some will be not yet, and some you might be way off. But when you really dial this in, I've met new friends this week accidentally hanging out in certain groups, and they've sent me a friend request, and they happen to, guess what, fall right into one of the categories of where most of the people that I chat with. So it happens because I hang out in those groups, I give value in those groups, not because I'm looking to prey on people, but because I love connection, I love community, I love sharing content that will serve. I love learning from other cool people. And then it just is a natural process of how you make that connection through really good marketing that solves a problem. And then the next piece is your main event. That is something that we'll really be working on in the Money Your Way course. And it's something that you can think about. How do I want to show up on social media to share this information, to make that connection? And I know that in the Fallon Zoe episode, you guys heard that consistency of showing up with your main attraction, with your lives, with your content is what is going to help you to grow your visibility, your following. More people will share you out. More people will be getting their eyes on you, and you will have more sales and success in your business. Think about this. If I didn't show up with my podcast every Monday, you all would go out and find a new podcast. I need to continue to show up consistently and speak to you and speak your language. And so I'm constantly wanting for you, and this is your call to action, let me know in my inbox what's on your mind. What are the things that are holding you back from your business? Where are you winning? Stop into my inbox on Facebook, over on Instagram at BethHoldenGraves, and say hello. And if you share this podcast in your stories, and just let people know, I'm going to put you in a drawing this week for a boss hat. They're super cool boss hats. And if you leave a review, rate and review, you are going to get 2 tickets in the drawing for a boss hat. I love to give things away. So let me know that you have a rating and review. If I read your review out loud and share you out, I give you a really, really cool book that I love. It's the I Am Journal. And I actually have been talking with her about getting her on the podcast. And she said that she would as soon as she opens up some more space, the author of the I Am Journal. So with that, we are going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for being with me today. I am just sending you so much love and so much peace and space to breathe as I'm just praying that we are getting to the other side of this. And I would love to spend some time with you. And I'm going to be, for the month of May, doing laser coaching sessions with those people that are in the Money Your Way course. So I would love for you to take a look at that at https:/BethHoldenGraves.com/money. Take a look at it, because normally, like I said, it's just a course. This is the content for the focus framework and a whole lot more for your business block. And then working with me in a laser coaching session during the month of May. So get on in. I am going to close the doors on that because I want to make sure that we have a small enough group for the laser coaching. So you need to make sure that you get that purchase. The course is always available, but I will close the laser coaching side down when we get to the number that will allow us to have enough conversation and it will be valuable and effective for you. So I will see so many of your faces on that laser coaching session. And the link will be in the comments below on how to purchase that. And if you have any issue at all, shoot us a message because we will be answering you, whether you send it to us on Instagram, send it to me over on Facebook, or you can email Beth@BethHoldenGraves.com and say, hey, I want in on that stuff. Remember, I love your ratings, review. It helps so much to get our podcast out and heard for those that are looking for help with their online network marketing business or just need to hang out with some cool people for 30 minutes on a Monday morning. I'll see you guys all next week, and be you bravely. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today on You're Not the Boss of Me. I'm hoping that you found one thing that you will do today that will allow you to move forward to that big, audacious goal. And I have a favor to ask of you, and that is leaving me a 5-star review over in iTunes. Every single week, I read your reviews. I love hearing what you have to say, and it allows me to bring you more, to get more people to interview that are doing the thing, breaking the glass ceilings, creating what they crave, and helping you with your game plan. So leave me a 5-star review, and when you do, I enter you to win the You're Not the Boss of Me swag. So make sure you leave it, and we'll reach out to you if you're the winner. Thanks so much for hanging with me today, and we'll chat with you soon.